Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Jaya Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Ishwari Murari Priya Mataji. So thank you all Prabhuji's Matajis. Today we may have slightly lower strength because tomorrow is a very, very special day of Gaur Purnima festival in this part of the world. So I have received messages from some of the devotees from Mangalore congregation who are involved in the temple services firsthand. So let's start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtapraeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatir uttama-shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vamcha kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome all Prabhujis, Matajis to this morning's discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam as part of the Bhakti Vaibhav session. So actually, when I was preparing till earlier this morning, I was also almost in double mind whether to request either Dasaragini Radhika Mataji or Aishwarya Subhadra Mataji to cover the session today because I'm not feeling too well today. And also, as you can see in the background, the packing is in progress for the family to move back to India tomorrow. So it was a bit hectic, but then I thought that it's very unfair to ask them at the last moment, and they also would have their services because of the Gaur Purnima and all. So forgive me if you find a bit less good health today. Okay, so let's start. So last time, anybody wants to revise the points that we discussed? What any main point that you recollect from last discussion? Although it was a bit short than usual length that we have. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Venkata Narasimha Prabhuji. Yes,
On
Prabhuji.
hearing the prayers of Uttara to protect her child in the womb, Krishna understood that Ashwadhama has released another Brahmastra for killing the Pandavas and including Parishat who is in the womb. Immediately he took up the Sudarshan without waiting for others and he has made this Brahmastra invalid, and then during that period he has covered this womb, embryo in the womb with his personal energy also. Like that, he has saved this Parishat and Pandavas from the Brahmastra released by Ashwadhama. And then Kunti, Queen Kunti started the prayers and it is in progress.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So Lord Krishna, acting as one of the family members of his dear devotees, the Pandavas, he saved Pandavas again, especially the last descendant, the child within the womb of Uttara, when he saw that there is another Brahmastra that has been released by Ashwathama targeting this child within the womb. And Lord Krishna did not depend on the Pandavas who had drawn out their weapons, knowing that it will be overwhelming for them to react in time and the child won't be saved unless he personally intervenes. And then we saw how Mother Kunti, Queen Kunti, when Lord Krishna is about to depart along with Satyaki to Dwaraka, Queen Kunti has now begun to offer her prayers to Lord Krishna. And we saw various examples of the chastity of devotees. We discussed on this word sati, how our devotional service to Lord Krishna should be completely dependent on him, should be one-pointed, should be chaste, without any adulteration or dependence on any other authorities, including the devatas and all. Such devotional service is referred to as sati, chaste devotional service, which Kunti Devi and all her family members, including her children, the daughter-in-law, and all other members of the Pandava family, they had this sati or unalloyed devotional service, unadulterated devotional service. And then we went into Queen Kunti's prayers, where she first discusses Lord Krishna's position as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She establishes Lord Krishna's position that externally it may seem to the world and even to herself. That's what she mentioned, that you are my nephew, you are connected to us by blood relations, but that is not true. Krishna is not my nephew, but he is the Supreme Lord. And we see even Arjuna offering such prayers to Lord Krishna in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that, oh my dear Lord, all this while I have been considering you as a contemporary, as a cousin brother, and kindly forgive me for this great offense. But obviously, Lord, staying with the Pandavas as his dear devotees, never considered it as an offense. He was bound to them in affection. And then Queen Kunti, we also saw the famous prayer that how Lord Krishna is always covered from materialist by the curtain of Maya, Maya Javanika Channam. And because of this curtain, just like a classical dancer is, her mudras, her postures are not appreciated by somebody who does not understand classical dance. Similarly, Lord Krishna, although being present in this on this earth during his time, his activities were not appreciated by many persons, including Shishupal, including Duryodhan, and so on and so forth. We saw few examples of Shishupal, how he derided the great superhuman pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna as something very ordinary, saying that Lord Krishna subdued a water snake, Kaliya, what's big deal in it? So, although Kaliya was so poisonous, so venomous that just the vapors coming out from his poison would kill the birds flying over it on the surface of Yamuna. He was so poisonous, and practically all the trees and grass in the surrounding areas on the shore of Yamuna river, they were all burnt except for this one tree from which Lord Krishna jumped into the Kaliya lake because of the effect of the poisonous Kaliya's severe poison. And then we also saw that how what Shishupal is mentioning is true in a way, that for Lord Krishna, who has snake bed as Anantashesh, so in front of the strength of the Anantashesh, Kaliya does not stand a chance at all. So Kaliya was not even insignificant like a water snake, nothing in front of Lord Krishna's might. But the attitude of Shishupal in considering those pastimes as ordinary was incorrect. That attitude was not in the mood of glorifying Krishna, but in the mood of deriding Krishna. That makes the whole thing as unfavorable, not favorable to Lord Krishna. And then we also saw that what to speak of the envious personalities, even to the great devotees, Lord Krishna is covered also, but the difference is that for the materialist, Lord Krishna is covered by Mahamaya, and for the devotees, Lord Krishna is covered by Yogamaya curtain, so that their loving interaction with the Lord is not impacted. And then we saw that Queen Kunti mentioning to Lord Krishna that if Lord Krishna is covered by these curtains, both for the materialist as well as for the devotees, then what to speak of a simple woman like herself? She is mentioning this in her all humanity, that what chance do I have of understanding you? And basically Lord Krishna is then thinking that you are saying this through your humility, but you can directly see me present before you. as a person, then how can you say that you are not able to really understand you? And then Kunti Maharani goes into the mysterious dealings of Lord Krishna, how all the so-called contradictions, they sync up, they are properly aligned only in Lord Krishna. And we are going to see this topic more in detail. And we also saw Queen Kunti offering beautiful prayers, comparing her own self with Mother Yashoda, that how Lord Krishna was more merciful to Queen Kunti because of her total dependence on him, because of her helpless situation. Because, sorry, did I mention Devaki or Mother Yashoda? It should be Devaki, if I mentioned incorrectly. Queen Kunti is comparing her own position with Mother Devaki, because Devaki, at least she had Vasudev to protect her, to support her. But in case of Queen Kunti, Pandu had died at a very early stage in their household life. And the co-queen of Kunti, Madri, she had gone Sati along with Pandu, leaving her own two children, Nakul and Sahadev, in Queen Kunti's prayers. We also see the different hierarchy of the fortune experienced by different great devotees of the Lord, including Vasudev, Devaki, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, including Vasudev, Devaki, and how we saw that Devaki was more fortunate than Vasudev, having carried Lord Krishna within the womb, and Nanda Maharaj, he was even more fortunate than Mother Devaki because of having had a chance to witness the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna. And Mother Yashoda, who personally offered her bodily milk to Lord Krishna, who Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And Yashoda Mata was even more fortunate than Vasudev. And then we saw those devotees, the damsels of Brajabhumi, who experienced, basically the Gopas and the Gopis both, they experienced the Kaishorya pastimes of Lord Krishna in great detail. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's Mataji's, Shailaja Mataji and Rajashri Koindala Mataji, can you take care, please? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, so sorry.
Yeah, just help me on mute.
Make me the co-host.
Yeah,
Please make me the co-host, Prabhu.
Sure,
Hare Krishna.
sure. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please make me the co-host.
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
able to mute Radhika here. Yes.
I have muted all other people.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. So we saw that how the damsels of Rajabhumi, the gopis, they were the most fortunate, and their good fortune is also praised by such sophisticated ladies as the ladies of Mathura. That what great austerities and great fortune that gopis have had, that they experience Lord Krishna's wonderful pastimes first hand, Kaishorya pastimes. And then Queen Kunti, let me go back to Srimad Bhagavatam 1 second. Yeah, then Queen Kunti basically offers her respects to Lord Krishna by meditating on different limbs of the body of the Lord. And because externally speaking, from the material relations point of view, Lord Krishna is nephew of Kunti Devi. So Kunti in material relations is definitely much superior. She did not want to make him feel awkward. So she starts meditating from the lotus navel of the Lord, going to the lotus face, and then going to the lotus feet. Namaste Pankajangre, meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord. And then we also saw that how, according to the teachings of the scripture, specifically third canto Srimad Bhagavatam, teachings of Lord Kapila, we should take darshan of the deity of the Lord, right, starting from the lotus feet of the Lord and then gradually move up to the lotus face. And that is the proper etiquette, how we should take darshan of the deity. And now in today's verse,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
yes, Divya Rukmini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I have a question for, can I ask Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Prabhu, in last chapter we see that Ashwatthama is killed all Draupadi's children, and he got punishment and he lost all his powers. No, then how he can again use the Brahmastra towards
See,
this Uttara?
yeah, so
Because
basically,
yes, Hare Krishna.
the punishment meted out to Ashwatthama, it is mentioned that he was insulted when the jewel on his forehead was taken away, and that insult itself was like a punishment. But whatever the Brahma Tejas that would have remained, it had definitely become depleted, but it is nowhere mentioned that Arjuna or Lord Krishna for that matter took away all his mystic powers at that point in time. But definitely we also saw that such jaganya, such great grave offenses, they reduce the potencies and the lifespan even of the great personalities. So definitely his powers had become depleted, but still it seems he had sufficient left to attack one last time. Is that all right, Mataji? So he was taken away of his jewel and severely insulted, but it is not mentioned that all his yogic powers and everything was taken away as such. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
That means he is having still
See,
having the mystic to use the Brahmastra.
We cannot speculate really, because hopefully he has learnt his lessons subsequently. After the punishment meted out, Lord Krishna would only know, Mataji. So we don't find it in Srila Prabhupada's purport. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Brahmastra is not a mystic power, right? It's a Dhanur power, right? Is my understanding right?
It's a military weapon, but it is invoked by the use of the mantras.
Mantra,
So,
okay.
yes,
Hare
which
Krishna.
was taught by Dronacharya. So now we start from text 23, and I had specifically mentioned that there is a group exercise which we'll have as the beginning activity of today, mentioning how Lord is much more attentive to those devotees who are in total helpless condition. Did we cover this slide, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? I think no, right? Because this one I remember we have not.
It was covered here, Prabhu.
This is covered. Okay, fine. So let me start directly with the group activity then. Nala Kubera and Manigrip, this also we covered these two examples of 4 types of people who have got the fever. Did we cover this? Okay. So that's fine. Even if we cover 1 or 2, same slide again, not an issue, just to make sure that we don't lose out on anything. So we saw that Queen Kunti praising the help given by Lord Krishna, the favors given by Lord Krishna in her life compared to Mother Devaki, because few things, Devaki still had Vasudev. Also, Lord Krishna protected all the children of Queen Kunti, the Pandavas. Of course, don't count Karna, because he did not surrender himself to the good instructions of Lord Krishna. But otherwise, Lord Krishna protected all of Kunti's children. But in case of Devaki, the 6 children of Devaki who were born before Balaramji, they were all killed by Kamsa. And later on, obviously, there is a second part of the story that Lord Krishna returns those children later on. But in essence, Devaki did have to go through the pain of losing her children in a very, very ghastly manner by her own brother. So we'll cover some part of this. O Rishikesha, master of the senses and lord of the lords, you have released your mother Devaki, who was long imprisoned and distressed by the envious King Kamsa, and me and my children from a series of constant dangers. So in this particular verse, Queen Kunti Devi is referring to King Kamsa as Khalena. Khala means, in Hindi or Devanagari, we have this word Khalanayak, that means a villain. So only villain in Devaki's life was King Kamsa. But when it comes to Queen Kunti's and the Pandavas' lives, there were so many villains, including Dhritarashtra neglecting them to an extent. His own children, led by Duryodhan, they were so envious that they made one attempt after another how to destroy, how to harm the Pandavas and all the family, right from the childhood, even till the time, even when they were exiled into the forest. So every single attempts were made. So Queen Kunti is expressing her gratitude to Lord Krishna, how one after another he showed his favor to the Pandava family just because of their unalloyed devotional service. And which were those dangers through which Lord Krishna protected Queen Kunti? We will start from that verse, which is text 24. So let's recite this text and then we proceed. Any devotee would like to recite? Vipin Vilas Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।
Dandavat.
विशान महाग्ने पुरुषाद दर्शनाद
Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanat
असत सभाया वनवास कृच्छतः
Asat
Asat
Sabhaya
Vanavasa
Shrataha
हृदय मृदेनेक महारथास्त्रतो
Mrude
Mudene Maharatastrato
द्रोण्यस्त्रतश्चास्म हरे अभिरक्षितः
Draunya Stratashyasva Hare Arakshita.
Translation.
Yeah. Translation. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from a vicious assembly, from suffering during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapons of Aswasthama. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So here, Queen Kunti is recollecting all the different dangers that she and her children, the Pandava family, they were all put through, right from the young age of her children, when Bhima was fed a poisonous cake. And then when he fell unconscious, he was thrown into the river with a stone tied around his neck in order to drown and die. Then Pandavas were made to stay in the house of Lac, which was put on fire, and the Pandavas, they were saved only because of the great devotee Vidura. We also see how when they were in exile, basically, what was the name of that demon? Bakasur. We have two Bakasur.
Agasura, Prabhu.
Not Agasur.
Agasur.
Not Agasur, Mataji. The demon Hidimba.
Agasur.
Sorry, Mataji. Divya Rukmini Mataji. Just hold on. It's not
Bagasur.
Bakasur. Yeah, Bakasur.
Bagasur.
Yeah. So this particular demon, who the families in the village, they had to offer one family member from each family every time their turn came up. And Queen Kunti, she personally had Bhima, her own son, being sent. When the host were ready, basically there was a argument between the host, husband and wife, that I will go and you stay and take care of the children. And the wife was saying that, no, no, you take care of the family and I will go and offer myself as an offering to this demon. And Queen Kunti, hearing this argument, she said that, no, my own son can go and he can take care. He's very, very powerful. And the family was reluctant, saying that you are our guest. We cannot put you in danger. So Queen Kunti is referring to all these. And in fact, this particular place, we recollect having visited it. It is near the birthplace of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, near Ekachakra in West Bengal, where the Pandavas stayed at some particular time during this episode where Bhima killed this demon. So, and then Draupadi was, her honor was saved in the vicious assembly by the mercy of Lord Krishna. And finally, Queen Kunti is referring to Ashwatthama attacking the Pandavas. Basically, the first Brahmastra which was thrown on Arjuna, although it was specifically meant for Arjuna, it is mentioned in Bhagavatam that Brahmastra had the ability to destroy the entire cosmic manifestation, which means even the Pandavas would have been destroyed. So Queen Kunti is offering her gratitude for Lord Krishna for having protected them through all these calamities. And in the next verse, which is very amazing, Queen Kunti is basically praying to Lord Krishna to let all those calamities happen again and again. So this is a very important verse. Divya Rukmini Mataji, you want to recite through this verse?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Can you
Yes,
hear me,
Mataji.
Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vipada Santu na Shashwat.
Vipada Santu Shashwat.
Tatra Jagat Guru.
Tatra Jagadguru.
Avado Darshanam Yasyat.
Bhavato
darshanam
yasyat.
Apunarbhava Darshanam.
Apunarbhava
darshanam.
Darshanam. Hare Krishna.
Translation.
Translation by His Divine Grace. I wish that all those calamities happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we will no longer see repeated births and deaths. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So Queen Kunti is basically, after having recollected those different calamities in which Lord Krishna protected her and the Pandavas, she is basically asking Lord Krishna to have all those calamities repeated again and again, which literally means that let her child Bhima be fed poison again, let her daughter-in-law Draupadi's honor be in danger again, let Pandavas having to go through the difficult time of having to face so many great generals in the battlefield of Kurukshetra again, and let Arjuna and then subsequently Parikshit be targeted by Ashwatthama, by Ashwatthama releasing the Brahmastra. She is literally asking for those calamities to be faced again and again, because in this state of calamities, the devotee's dependence on Lord Krishna is solely on Lord Krishna without anyone else. And through this dependence on Lord Krishna, the remembrance of Lord Krishna is most intense. And such a pure devotee as Queen Kunti, they want to experience that intense remembrance of Lord Krishna, because if they remember Krishna in that way, then one does not have to see the face of repeated birth and death. So 1 second. Yeah, so each and every line of this purport is important. So we will go through it part by part. Any devotee wants to read through, Prema Priya Jayashree Mataji, you want to read through the highlighted parts of the purport?
Yes,
All
Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport.
purport by Sri Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada, Purport Vijay. Generally, a translation also, Prabhuji? No, no.
Purport.
Yeah. Generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot appraise the supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So the Acharyas mention that these calamities, why they are needed in our lives, because according to the scriptures, both Bhagavad Gita as well as Bhagavatam, that when a materially motivated person, be he Artha, Artharthi, Jigyasu, Jnani, all four types of pious living entities who are mentioned in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, they approach the Lord whenever there is some material need. But as soon as that material need is taken care, then the person again tends to forget the Lord. But these calamities, which Kunti Devi has mentioned, the calamities of such proportion, they completely wake up such a sleeping person who is basically under the influence of Maya to totally remember Lord Krishna and depend on Lord Krishna. So basically all these calamities are meant to shake us up so that we get out of our comfort zone and take shelter of Krishna fervently. So these calamities definitely have a purpose to fulfill, even for a materialist person and for a great devotee like Queen Kunti and Pandavas. Lord Krishna is using them as examples for all of us to emulate. So they did not need the calamities to remember Lord Krishna. We see that even in their good times, when King Yudhishthir Maharaj was established as the sovereign king of the whole world, when they came to know that Lord Krishna has concluded his pastimes on the earth, not even for a moment they were attached to retaining the kingdom. Immediately Yudhishthir Maharaj handed it over to Parikshit, their descendant, and all the Pandavas followed by Draupadi and Mother Kunti, they all started towards north, towards Himalayas, to dedicate themselves completely to Lord Krishna and his remembrance. So we see that these great devotees like Queen Kunti don't need this arrangement by the Lord to shake them up, because they are always in constant remembrance of the Lord. But a materialist definitely needs these calamities. So here it is mentioned, therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. So here, in terms of this particular section, in the earlier slide, we have given the examples of so many devotees. Some of these examples we discussed last time. The first photo is of the Avadhut Brahman, who was rejected by his family and by his near and dear ones, having lost all his wealth, and there was practically no one for him to take shelter of than the Supreme Lord himself. And then in that total helpless situation, how by the inspiration given by Lord Krishna, this Avadhut Brahmana, how we learned from 24 different gurus, including the tree, the honeybees, the snake, a prostitute, a small child, a cow, so on and so forth. So there is a beautiful description in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam about the teachings that Avadhut Brahmana learned from all these 24 gurus. And we had discussed this briefly earlier as well. There is a beautiful small book written on these teachings by the 24 gurus that Avadhut Brahmana learned in a small book named Enlightenment by Natural Path. Enlightenment by Natural Path. This is a book written by His Holiness Hrudayananda Goswami Maharaj. So, we can refer either from Bhagavatam or from this small book, but it is very, very inspiring, the lessons that Avadhuta Brahmana learned and his realizations when his own near and dear ones, including the wife and the children, they rejected him because of he having lost all his wealth. So coming back to this particular verse, such calamities are arranged by the Lord only to wake us out of our slumber and take complete shelter of the Lord. Otherwise, it is very difficult for a conditioned soul. And what to speak of conditioned soul, even in the lives of great devotees, we have earlier discussed example of Srila Prabhupada in the household life, how Lord Krishna arranged a very, very difficult situation in terms of his own flourishing business, the pharmacy business, incurring severe losses, and then Abhay Babu making one after another 6 unsuccessful attempts to establish the business afresh. But Lord Krishna basically hindering all those efforts. And finally, we see that Abhay Babu, who was now Abhay Charanaravind, initiated disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he considering it as Lord's special mercy that Lord wants me to now retire from the household duties and dedicate myself completely unto his service. And so this particular calamities, anything that happens for a devotee, if we consider it as Lord Krishna's will, then we would be more equipped to face them rather than basically going into lamentation, which the materialists do. So we proceed. This material world is certified by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. So example in this regard is given just like, and this was quoted by Radhesham Prabhu in one of his classes on this section, that when he was young, he used to play with the kittens by holding a very long-handled broom, which was connected to a bamboo stick, and at one end of the bamboo stick, the broom was attached. So he used to move the bamboo stick, holding it at the far end in front of the kitten, and the kitten would think mistakenly that the broom is moving on its own and will try to catch the broom without knowing that this broom is being ultimately controlled by somebody at a far off distance. Or another example Prabhuji was giving, just like, say, for example, sometimes we have a headache, we take a certain tablet, we get fever, we take another tablet, paracetamol, and so on. But we don't really check what is the root cause in the body, which is causing all these external symptoms of unhealthiness. Similarly, here also in the purport, it is mentioned that all these calamitous situations, they are like the symptom of the unhealthy condition of the soul that Krishna is trying to teach us something. That should be the mood of a devotee, that what does Lord Krishna want me to learn out of all these calamities? If we simply try to act on those calamities externally, then we are no better than the materialists. Then the purpose of Lord Krishna is not fulfilled at all. Prabhupada writes, less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the same person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization, because that is the mission of human life. So, for a devotee, important thing is how we consider Lord Krishna's hand in all these mishaps that are happening around us. And it is not that these mishaps will be avoided if we are a devotee or if we are not a devotee. So even when we take up to devotional service, it is not that everything will be hunky-dory, everything will be all set, not at all. The nature of the material world will not change. Only thing that will change is the scriptures, the devotional service, they will make us more equipped to face those calamities in the right attitude. Otherwise, we'll be completely broken like the materialist persons. And we have seen examples earlier as well that there is not a single devotee from the scriptures who we can find who did not have to go through different calamities. In fact, that is the nature of this world. So we proceed. All this you can go through later. And what is the mood of a devotee? Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative to take shelter of than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. And the point that I was trying to mention, that why Lord Krishna gives these calamities? To give benefit to us. This is the commentary by one of the great acharyas in the Vaishnava Sampradaya, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, which is referred to by Srila Prabhupada in his purport. To give benefit to us, Lord Krishna, destroy unsteadiness caused by intoxication of material comfort. And this intoxication point is covered in more detail by Queen Kunti in next few verses, how this intoxication causes a devotee to become lax in devotional service. And this intoxication needs to be removed by the Lord so that we take his shelter. The Lord Krishna, destroy unsteadiness caused by intoxication of material comfort by giving the ointment of dangers arising out of your mercy. So only purpose Lord has is to show us mercy by removing the unsteadiness that is caused by material comfort. And this is a beautiful verse from the teachings of 4 Kumaras to Maharaj Prithu. Basically, after Maharaj Prithu shows his obedience to the will of Lord Brahma by foregoing the 100 Ashwamedh sacrifice, the 4 Kumaras appear out of their to show their mercy on King Prithu, and they guide him before Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu himself appearing to show their mercy. So basically, the essence of the 4 Kumaras teachings to King Prithu is that they mention that all these difficulties in the world, which are like a huge ocean to cross, for a devotee who sincerely takes shelter of the Lord, it becomes very, very easy. Although the ocean is difficult to cross, by taking shelter of his lotus feet, you will overcome all the dangers. And there is also the famous verse, which is Lord Brahma's prayers in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Lord Brahma gives the analogy comparing the ocean to the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. So hoof print of a calf is very, very small, probably 3-4 inches, not more than that, 2-3 inches. But whatever water is contained in that hoof print is very small, even a child can cross. So similarly, a devotee can easily cross over this material ocean of material world if we take shelter of the Lord. Then Queen Kunti covers in the next verse the different types of fevers, the different types of intoxication. She specifically uses the word madaha. Madaha means intoxicant, becoming totally intoxicated. How 4 different types of so-called material prosperities, they cause intoxication to the materialist person, and Lord Krishna, how he removes this, how he reduces this fever one by one in order to have the devotee take shelter of him. So let's go through the verse first, then we go through the detail. Any devotee wants to recite the verse? Hare Krishna. Gita Pradeep Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Janmaishwarya Shrudha Shruti
Janmaishwarya
Shwarya
Shrutati
Edavanamadapuma
Apadapuma
Naivarhati abhidhatum vai
Naivarhati abhidatum
Abhidatum vai
Tvam akinchana gocharam.
Tvam
Gocharam.
gocharam.
Hare Krishna.
Translation.
Translation. My Lord, your Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with the sincere feeling. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So this word, just note this carefully. This will be used by Kunti Devi, akinchana, in this verse and coming few verses also. And it is very, very important. This is the crux of the section of the verses from this till almost 30-31. Akinchana, we will try to go a bit more into detail. What do we mean by akinchana, which in plain English, it means materially impoverished. Lord Krishna, Tvam akinchana gocharam. Lord Krishna is being mentioned as being sincerely approached by those who are akinchana gocharam, who are totally materially exhausted. So Queen Kunti is saying, Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribhir, that these four material prosperities, when they are present, what are they? Janma means good birth, high parentage. Aishwarya means material opulence. Shruta means high education. And Shribhir means fame, being very famous. So all these four material prosperities, they do not allow a person to call out for Krishna feelingly. Eda mana mada puman, because they make a person intoxicated. Whenever a person has these four things, either he has a very birth in a very high class family, or he is very wealthy, or he is highly educated, a person is puffed up by his high education, or he is very famous, then having these four things makes a person, or any of these four things makes a person intoxicated. And what happens in such intoxicated stage? Naivar hati abhidhatum vai. If we refer to the word-to-word translation, abhidhatum, this word means calling out for Krishna feelingly. So although such persons may call out for Krishna as a mechanical arrangement, that calling is not as intense as a person who is really in great danger. So such persons who are intoxicated by the four material fevers, for them it is very difficult to call out for Krishna abhidhatum vai, with great feelings. And therefore Queen Kunti praises Lord Krishna as akinchana gocharam, that he can easily be approached by persons who are totally exhausted by all these four types of fevers. So they have tried all these four things and they have not succeeded. They have been totally frustrated by the Lord in one way or another. Such akinchana, such materially exhausted persons, they can really call out for Krishna feelingly. So let's go into the details of the purport. Gita Mataji, you want to read through the highlighted part?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Being materially advanced means taking birth in
Pinchana Vittaya Atma Ramaya Santa.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, please unmute only if you want to ask something. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Being materially advanced means taking birth in an aristocratic family and possessing great wealth, and education and attractive personal beauty. All materialistic men are mad after possessing all these material opulences, and this is known as the advancement of material civilization. But the result is that by possessing all these material assets, one becomes artificially puffed up, intoxicated by such temporary possessions. Consequently, such materially puffed up reasons are incapable of uttering the holy name of the Lord by addressing him feelingly, O Govinda, O Krishna.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Manoj. So the example is given here of, consider a person who does not know swimming and he is drowning. So such a person who is drowning, how he will call out for help, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Will he simply say that help, somebody is there? How will he call out? Yes?
There will
Full
be a
heart.
deep, it will be a wholehearted
Wholehearted.
way. Yes.
Yes, he will try to put his every ounce of his energy in calling out loudly so that any person nearby on the shore, he will be able to attract his attention and have a chance of being saved. He won't, if he simply calls out help, nobody will probably hear. He has to really shout out, call out from heart. Only then there is a chance of being saved. Similarly, the Shastras also mentioned, it is said in the Shastras that by once uttering the holy name of the Lord, the sinner gets rid of a quantity of sins that he is unable to commit. That means the chanting of the names of the Lord is so powerful that one cannot even imagine to commit so many sinful activities, which even a single holy name of the Lord chanted sincerely can cover, can mitigate, can neutralize. But there is a condition. What is that condition? Such is the power of uttering the holy name of the Lord. There is not the least exaggeration in this statement. Actually, the Lord's holy name has such powerful potency. But there is a mention of but. That means we have to really fulfill this condition. Then this potency of the holy name will be in action. And what is that condition? But there is a quality to such utterances also. It depends on the quality of feeling. A helpless man can feelingly utter the holy name of the Lord, whereas a man who utters the same holy name in great material satisfaction cannot be so sincere. That means Kunti Devi is saying that if the man is materially at comfort through all these means, including high birth, high education, personal beauty, fame, then for such a person who is too much relaxed in the material comfort, it is very difficult to call out for Krishna with great eagerness, great sincerity. So she says that all these four types of intoxication, they need to be removed by the Lord, because the person cannot take shelter of him sincerely if he is intoxicated. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the later part of the purport, the material covering of the pure spirit soul is an external feature, as much as the fever is an external feature of the unhealthy body. So what does fever mean? Like, we have many physicians, doctors in this group, like Aishwarya Subhadra Mataji, Prema Prakash Haridas Prabhu. They can confirm that when our, is it the white blood cells, Prabhuji? When they are fighting against say virus, for example, that fight of the cells with the virus, it causes the bodily temperature to rise. So Srimad Bhagavatam is saying that fever is nothing but a symptom of an unhealthy condition of body, that the cells are trying to fight and neutralize, defeat that virus through our is it white cells only, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. White
Yeah.
cells are the soldiers of the army.
Yes. So when the white cells are fighting, we see the bodily temperature rising, and it is a symptom that body is in an unhealthy condition, but we are trying to fight. Similarly, these material prosperities, the four types of material symptoms of material progress, these are considered by Kunti Devi as a symptom of a deceased soul. Does it mean that these things are not good in general? The answer is no. We have so many great souls like Yudhishthir Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, who were the sovereign kings of the entire earthly planet, but they were not intoxicated even after having all these four attributes of the material progress, because they considered all these as the mercy of Lord Krishna, and they were not attached to these at all. But a normal materialist person, these four symptoms of material progress, these cause intoxication. And Queen Kunti is very critical of this material intoxication, because she says such a person cannot feelingly call out for Lord Krishna. Sometimes it is seen that spiritually advanced persons become materially impoverished. This is no discouragement. On the other hand, such impoverishment is a good sign as much as the falling of temperature is a good sign. So sometimes the Lord has to really reduce this material temperature, the fever, just so that devotee comes to his senses and takes shelter of the Lord. And like he did in the case of so many personalities like Avadhuta Brahmana that we discussed earlier. So Avadhuta, when his material temperature, the fever was gone, he did not have anybody else to take shelter of but the Supreme Lord. And in that condition only and apart from Avadhut Brahmana, there are examples of so many personalities like this lady in the life of Lord Buddha who totally surrendered herself to Lord Buddha, having lost all her family members in one calamity or another. And in that helpless situation, when there was no one in the family remaining, she completely surrendered herself to servitude of Lord Buddha's teachings and perfected her life. And there are so many other examples of devotees. The principle of life should be to decrease the degree of material intoxication, which leads one to be more and more illusioned about the aim of life. Whenever these material intoxicants, the fever is increasing, then for the person, it becomes very difficult to remember the aim of life. Grossly illusioned persons are quite unfit for entrance into the kingdom of God. And when a person is intoxicated by this fever, then they tend to commit very apparent grave mistakes, which are very easy to point if one is not in intoxication. In our last discussion, we had seen two cases. Let me come to that slide. Nalakuver and Manigriv. Yes, the second example of Indra. We see that Indra, he was so much intoxicated by the heavenly opulence that he failed to properly honor his own spiritual master, Brahaspati, in the assembly of the Devatas. And Brahaspati, he did not even speak a word to correct this intoxication of Indra. He immediately understood in his own mind that his disciple is intoxicated by material pride, and he simply left from the place. But as soon as Brahaspati left, Indra understood his mistake and he had lost all his powers basically. And subsequently, Bali Maharaj, having pleased his own spiritual master, Shukracharya, the Asuras, they derived great strength, attacked heavenly kingdom, and the Indra and all the Devatas literally had to flee for their life. So we see that how there is a famous saying in English, pride comes before the, what is the saying? Pride comes before the
Fall.
fall. Yes. So pride comes before the fall. And many a times, Lord Krishna, especially to the devotees, is very, very careful about personally taking care to reduce this fever of material intoxication. So all of us, we have to be very careful. If we want to achieve Krishna, we should avoid these intoxicants by all possible means, not to be intoxicated by this Janma, Aishwarya, Shuta, and Shri. Any questions, comments on this particular portion, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna. How these four fevers cause intoxication and how Lord Krishna reduces these fevers in the life of a devotee so that they take shelter of Lord Krishna in a situation of total material impoverishment.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Vandita Mataji.
There is no use for wealth and beauty and life and education. Where there is if there is zero for all these things. One is attached to in front of the zero. That one is Krishna. Krishna is the Sampurna purity of our life.
Yes, yes, Mataji. So as you rightly mentioned, that all these symptoms of material progress on their own, they have zero value. In fact, they can drive us away from Lord Krishna. But if we connect all these facilities to Lord Krishna, then we can definitely put them to right use.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, Prabhuji. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. All right. So let me go back here. So let's have this as a group activity where discuss from this set of verses from text 23, 24, and even 25. How such great devotees of the Lord, whenever there are any reversals, calamities in their life, how they take dependence, total dependence, how they take shelter of the Lord and depend totally on the Lord, and discuss from our own life some of the difficult situations which at that particular point in time seemed very, very harsh, very difficult to face. But now looking back, we can appreciate Lord Krishna's hand, that how that situation brought us closer to Lord Krishna. Is the ask clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? And also, how we cannot expect being a devotee that no difficulties or calamities will come in our life, because that is the nature of this world. Whether we are devotees, we are non-devotees, the calamities will definitely come. But as a devotees, we are equipped to face those calamities. So we should not have false hopes of not facing any dangers or calamities. Can we have this group discussion, Prabhuji's, for 10 minutes to prepare, and maybe we'll have 2 or 3 groups to present 1 or 2 points each.
Kindly put in the chat, Prabhuji.
Yes, yes, Mataji. 1 second, hold on. Don't take very long. Okay, we are almost 1 hour through. So let me make the breakout rooms. Hare Krishna, take around 7 to 8 minutes to discuss. Okay, and just before discussing, quickly scan through these verses 23 to 25. The purports are a bit long, but we have just read it, so it should be fresh in your mind. And then 1 or 2 devotees from each group can present. Hare Krishna.
I think I'm getting muted. Go ahead, you all speak. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's mother, you had sufficient time or you needed to rush through the discussion?
Today was a bit of a rush, Prabhu, but it was
Oh.
sort of, we were also lagging, but that is okay, Prabhu. It was from our end as well. Maybe.
Okay,
Hare
sorry,
Krishna.
sorry. Yeah.
No, Prabhu, we are sorry. Hare Krishna.
So we will maybe start with group 3 first. Yeah, so can we know who are the devotees from group 3 who would like to present? Which is Murli Prabhu, P.S. Murthy Prabhu, Radhika Ratnanga Mataji, Reena Mataji, Sadhatushta Achyut Prabhu, Tarini Krishna
Krishna.
Kanta. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. So the devotees have chosen me to put our views, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So from these 3 slokas, what we need to understand is, even in devotee's life, it is not only becoming a devotee of Krishna, it is not going to be a very smooth life. Both positive as well as difficulties, we have to see as a mercy of Krishna. And Kunti Maharani's, what are we trying to learn is, she is asking calamities again and again so that she can always remember Krishna. What is the end goal? End goal is very clear, that we have to be free from this cycle of birth and death. So for that bigger cause, a little difficulty here, we have to see it as a mercy of the Lord. And Krishna is always there to protect. Now, when we have come to this Krishna consciousness, it is not by our endeavors we have taken this course and we have come this far. It is Krishna's bigger plan, by the mercy of his devotees, that we got an opportunity to come to this level 1 course, and through that we have slowly progressing, gradually progressing. So we need to see the hands of Krishna in all our blessings. At the same time, even in difficult situation, Krishna's mercy can come in any way, sometime favorable, sometime unfavorable. So when it is unfavorable, we should not be complaining to Krishna. If we see Kamsa or Shishupala's example, Krishna's anger was a mercy to them, they got delivered. Similarly, there is favorable, unfavorable. So we have to see it as Krishna's mercy and continue to engage in service of Krishna. So this is what we could get as a takeaway. So any other inputs from other devotees from our group, they can please add. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sadhatushta Prabhuji. Any other devotees from group 3? Murli Prabhu, Reena Mataji, Venkata Narasimha Prabhu. Or any incident anybody wants to recollect from their own life, which apparently, if you are comfortable, which apparently seemed like a reversal, but in the longer run, it brought us closer to Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna. All
Hare
right.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Reena
Yeah,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Yes,
Especially during Corona time, Prabhuji, so many health issues were there. Not only me, like whole family were suffering a lot. But in spite of that, we could sail through that because of mercy of Namanishtas Prabhuji. So I got these classes. So otherwise, I would have gone really mad, I think, Prabhuji, with the difficulties I had to face. So I felt like this is really lifted me through those difficult situations, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Reena Mataji, for sharing. So COVID times, so many constraints, so many uncertainties, anxieties, it was very, very difficult. But in that difficult time, the online preaching by the devotees, especially Namanishta Prabhuji and group of devotees from ISKCON Mangalore, it flourished and it brought so many of us connected to, in contact with Shri Radha Govindaji congregation and made us learn Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, Reena Mataji. Any other devotees? Right, we'll proceed to group 2. Who are the devotees from group 2? Gita Mataji, Ishwari.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
All the entire group discussed the issues and everybody participated very well. Usha Kamath Mataji and Namita Mataji will present our views.
Okay, fine.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Here is Krishna endows more favor to a devotee who is in greater dangers always. Sometimes he puts his pure devotee to such a dangerous situation that there will be all helplessness situation. So that time only the devotee becomes more attached to the Krishna. So then only Krishna helps them a lot, I think. This is the first point we discussed. And
yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Calamities are not viewed as adversities by devotees, but a means to get closer to Krishna and to depend on him completely with faith and trust wholeheartedly.
Thank you, Mataji. Any examples you discussed as part of the group?
Krishna Prabhu, I want to share my personal experience.
Yes, Mataji.
Which is related to Corona time once again. I lost my husband, I lost my father-in-law, and it was such a situation for me that I was totally in a depression for 3 months. So after that, one day I got one message from my friend from Bangalore ISKCON to join Bhagavad Gita. So that is the turning point of my life, Prabhuji. So I think whatever happens in my life was it just to showed me a Krishna Bhakti. I believe in that. So after that, my whole life was changed. So this is the situation I wanted to share with you all.
Very brave and courageous of you, Mataji, that both for facing the situation and also being so honest in
the only reason
sharing.
I shifted to Bangalore to Udupi, and I found a job here, and I totally surrendered myself to Krishna. So this is my own experience I wanted to share you all. Yes.
Thank you, Gita Mataji. Hare Krishna. Any other devotees from group 2? Namita
Krishna,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, I want to share my personal experience. So here, when in October 2023, I had a big accident, Prabhuji. So that the car went directly into the canal. It was so fast, even that the driver cannot control. So actually, we would not saved, but how we got saved, we don't know. Then my son, he is 8 years old, me and my son were there. He pulled me out from the car. Even that the car got so scrapped, Prabhuji. So we cannot even take the single part from that car. But how we got saved, we don't know, Prabhuji. So in that car, that is a miracle actually. And even in a canal, no water. So in the evening only, the accident was at 12 p.m., 12 noon, and 6 o'clock the water came in the canal, Prabhu. That was a big experience in my life, Prabhu. He saved my son. There is one verse in Bhagavad Gita. So what is there with you, we save, and what we don't have, I give.
Carry.
I carry. Really, Krishna saved us, Prabhu. He saved my son, actually. I don't know what about me, but he saved him.
Thank you, Mataji. So whatever a devotee has, Krishna will carry, and whatever a devotee lacks, he will provide. So Ananyas Chintayanto Man. Thank you, Mataji, for revealing. And these calamities are, we can consider as favor, provided we go closer to Krishna. We don't break up and then go away from Krishna. Thank you. So any devotees from group 1? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandas Prabhuji.
On behalf of group 1, I would like to share the views. Actually, looking to these verses, it is a Krishna's protection for the Kunti and Pandavas. Basically, Pandavas and Kuntis were the pure devotees of the Lord, and the definition of the devotee means it is always 100%. It is never vibhakt, always connected to the Lord in any situation of the life, either good or bad or any worst condition. And actually, that is the reason this Kunti always asking for these calamities once again repeating, so that they can the Lord can be always they can remember. So that is the one point. And in the material world, we are making so many plans actually. but that plans never helps. The security of the material world is actually a danger. Once we are surrender to the Lord, then automatically everything. Conclusion of these 3-4 verses.
Yes, so one particular point which Vipin Vilas Prabhuji just mentioned is the comforts of this world is actually a danger. That means
Yes.
we can be lax in our devotional service if we get into that comfort zone, and we won't even know when the calamities can impact, whenever they can happen anytime. Thank you, Vipin Vilas Prabhu. Any other point?
Prabhu, add to this, I think in verse 23, it is mentioned about when the condition is helpless, the devotee become more attached to the Lord. When there is more attachment to the Lord, then they will get more success.
Yes. So unless the situation is difficult, the devotee own attachment to the Lord, it would remain at a very preliminary level. It won't go intense. Only when the calamities are there.
Yeah, as we learned in 7th chapter, I think we have to take the reversal as the special mercy of the Lord. We have seen in Narada's story.
Yes, very nice example. Narada Muni's example of Narada Muni as a 5-year-old child losing his only shelter, the mother.
In the 23rd shloka, it's mentioned, it's comparing between Devaki's situation and Kunti's situation. Devaki was not so fortunate enough to retain all her first children. She lost the 6 children. Of course, the 7th and 8th were God incarnate. But Kunti Devi says, I'm much fortunate because all my children were saved in all situations in the 23rd shloka. And of course, in personal experiences, as many have quoted, COVID is what happened very recently. And there I too are very personal losses, which I had to cope with. I mean, only this, our project at Mangalore Kulai, I mean, right now Kulai, then Nantur. Now that connection with that helped us to overcome that. And I remember two more situations. My daughter, when I lost her in 2011, she was a great devotee of Krishna, of course, ISKCON devotee, but she died, she had to succumb to it in Bombay. Very young, at 28 years old. We prayed such a lot for 3.5 months. She was in ICU. With all our prayers, we could not avert the happening mishap. Then I was not so much into Krishna consciousness, but I always accepted calamities as Lord's will. And the last one I would quote is my cruise in Goa, when we were shifting from the boat to the main ship, Vikrant. My mother, from both sides, her hands were left actually. The main cruise ship and the boat. She was almost going to drown into the ocean. What happened, we don't know. I screamed loud. I was just, I think, in the 7th standard then. I screamed aloud, and what help I got, how I got, I do not know. I was young then to realize that, but she was saved. Otherwise, she would have been lost because there was no control over saving her. These things are like at my personal front, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Priya Mataji.
So I want to share my personal experience.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Actually, my son was very lack of concentration, especially in studies. Even I took him to the counselor also, but nothing was helpful. But finally, 2 years back, I took him to Vrindavan along with the Mangaluru Yatra. Yeah, I prayed to the God that I have surrendered to him. It is up to you how you are making in the progress of his education. So as a miracle, Prabhu, within 4-5 months, he has completely changed. So even my husband always says, because of Krishna's mercy, now he is focused, and he got a very distinction in 10th also. Now after passing first PUC, is in 2nd, very much focused, and I always grateful to the God.
Thank you, Mataji. So isn't it wonderful hearing from so many devotees that Lord Krishna never ever leaves his devotees alone. Whatever are the difficult situations, if we stick somehow or other to devotional service, Krishna will take us through. And in the longer run, looking back at it, we will find each and every difficult situation as the mercy of the Lord. That because it occurred, our own gratitude, faith, and intensity of devotional service increased. Thank you,
Prabhu, can I tell mine, or we are running out of time?
Yes, Mataji, we can cover.
Yeah, Prabhu, just one thing which I wanted to tell is my case is a little different. I think material life was the most beautiful life I ever had. Everything was picture perfect. And I wanted to read Bhagavad Gita at the age of 12. Happened during COVID when NDT Prabhu, gave the opportunity. So at the fair end of my life, I had a chance to read Bhagavad Gita. But then I realized one thing, Prabhu, spiritual life was the toughest life I've ever had. At every stage, with people, with situation, I had so many objections that there was a stage I could not breathe, right? Not only mentally, not only emotionally, but also physically, right? You would have known that I had an electrocute, during the temple, and though I said, Sachinanda Prabhu, before I die, just get me out of the temple. So that was my only prayer. Though I always wished, boss, I should die in temple. That was my fear because I didn't want to spoil Prabhu's thing. And at the end of the day, I just noticed how devotees took care, how Krishna took care, because the problems I faced in spiritual world, life was very high, but the joy I received was so high that the problems appeared so small that, I don't know whether I want to leave Krishna or not. I think Krishna will not leave me because after the show, I had a fracture in my right leg, one after the other, but not once was my spiritual path stopped. Whether it was caused during COVID, I still could take class, and whether it was the yatra, I was limping during initiation also, I could not manage, but still nothing stopped me from doing. So I think that is possible only with Krishna Prema. So that is a thing which I wanted to tell. And one request which I want to put across is always follow your guru. Because every time I noticed, NND Prabhu was telling, even before the shot, he was telling, stick to Dharmeshri ma'am, stay with her. I was there with her only. And he said, stay in the center hall, center hall of the temple. Don't go this way, that way. So I was there throughout, everything was fine. I just moved out of the hall and I hit a shot. So I always feel when Guru tells you, we will be wondering why. But then sometimes, we will never know the answer again. But if we don't follow, it is not that it is a punishment from God. It is basically a protection from Guru. Guru is giving you some kind of a warning. Many times I've seen. This is not the first time I've seen this coming directly from NND Prabhu. And, that's a request which I thought I'll put forth because I personally request this, Prabhu. With this, I'll end my thing. Thank you so much. And love of Krishna is the highest, I think, in respect of the problem, that this makes me long for this. But material happiness, I don't think is really that great because I've enjoyed life, but still I feel this is the best. I've seen both sides. So that's why I'm telling you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So very many nice points mentioned by Rasaragini Mataji. One being that having the mood that come what may, we will not leave Krishna. The difficulties that come in our life, they are not punishments by the Lord, but they are His favor just to bring us out of slumber. And none of the cases we have seen, so many devotees spoke of their personal difficult times. Nowhere, either in the scriptures or even in the real life situation that we just saw, devotees have any grudge or complain about Lord Krishna putting them into that difficult situation. So that is the mood of a devotee. Material world, difficulties are definitely there, whether we take up to devotional service or don't. But if we utilize those difficult situations to go closer to Krishna, then it is a success. Hare Krishna. So let's cover a few more slides that we have planned for today. Probably we'll need one more session to cover this chapter. Hare Krishna. Divya Rukmini Mataji, you have any questions, query or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhu, actually, no, I just want to check that that material miseries, whatever the miseries is happening only in the material world, no, and there is no miseries in spiritual world. So whatever happening in material world, as for a devotee, is there any if we are thinking it's a misery, that is the devotees never think it's a misery, no? Am I right, Prabhu?
Basically, devotees
the miseries are materially.
Yeah, we accept it and we face it. We use it to go closer to Krishna. We are not in denial. So whatever are the challenges
that is our karmas, depends that they will think our previous karmas are like is it like that? No, that is what they will think like that. No,
yes. So that is the mood based on Lord Brahma's prayers, that we consider that I am supposed to face this much. It is Lord Krishna's grace that he is giving only small reaction, what I am supposed to do. That also Tatenukampa also. So
we challenges we face them as challenges in life.
Yeah, so we consider it as Lord Krishna's mercy, that what he wants me to learn from this difficult situation. That is the mood of a devotee. Not that why this is happening to me. Hare
So
Krishna.
whatever difficulties, Hare Krishna Prabhu, whatever difficulties we are getting it as a like Anugrahanami, Isyaham Anugrahanami.
It's
It's a
Krishna's mercy.
blessing from God, and to reduce our pious our sins, and making us too close to Krishna. So is the mood we have to develop, no Prabhu?
Yes, yes, Mataji. That whatever is the positive, negative balance, let's clear it all in one go, so that after this life, we are able to go to Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
And just one point, Prabhupada also mentioned to devotees at different points that we should not get overwhelmed by this temporary period where we have to face this difficult situation. Like in London, Bury Place Temple, when once Srila Prabhupada was visiting His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj, who at that time was a brahmachari. So Indradyumna Prabhu that time. Maharaj was carrying Srila Prabhupada's trunk and bag, and it was very heavy. So the Bury Place temple, there were no lifts. So Maharaj carried the heavy bag of Srila Prabhupada up till the 3rd floor where Srila Prabhupada's room was there. And after putting the bag in the corner, while Srila Prabhupada was getting settled, Indradyumna Swami Maharaj offered his prostrated obeisances. And he was so tired because of having lifted a very heavy luggage up till the 3rd floor, climbing the stairs, that he was almost flat and not able to get up quickly after offering obeisances. So he was both like relaxing, trying to gain his breath, and also offering obeisances. And Prabhupada was observing all this. And then Prabhupada told him that so much of difficulties in this world, but when I take you back home, back to Godhead, then there are no more difficulties and no more miseries. And all the efforts that Indradyumna Maharaj had put, and all the tiredness, all the fatigue immediately went off by that encouragement by Prabhupada. So we devotees accept the difficulties, but our goal is fixed. If our goal is fixed, then we don't feel disturbed too much. Hare Krishna. So let's go back to the slides. 1 second. Next verse. Any other devotees have any questions, comments? Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. Can we proceed? All right.
Yes, Prabhu.
So let's recite this verse, beautiful verse, text 27. Any devotee wants to recite the verse? Lalita Vinodini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Namo akinchana vittaya.
Namo
Kinchana
Vittaya.
Namo akinchana, not kinchana.
Yes, akinchana.
Akinchana vittaya.
Namo
Kinchana Vittaya.
Nivritta guna vrittaye.
Nivritta guna vrittaye.
Atmaramaya shantaya.
Atmaramaya Shantaya.
Kaivalya pataye namaha.
Translation.
Yeah, translation by Jivan Grace Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are the master of the moonies.
Thank you. Thank you, Manoj. So we saw in the last verse, Queen Kunti saying that how Lord Krishna reduces the material fever. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Lord Krishna reduces the material fever in the life of a devotee in order to show his special favor, so that the devotee in that material exhausted condition of being akinchana, he can remember the Lord and surrender to the Lord. So here in this verse, again Queen Kunti is using that word akinchana, saying Vitta means the property, the wealth. So the wealth of such materially exhausted devotees who are akinchana is Lord Krishna himself. Lord Krishna is the property of the materially impoverished. And his Nivritta Guna Vrattaye. Nivritta means he has crossed beyond. Guna means the three modes of material nature. Lord Krishna's actions are beyond the three modes of material nature. And similar to Lord Krishna, those who have surrendered to the Lord, their actions are also beyond the three modes. They are not bound by the three modes. And his Atma Ramaya Shanta is completely peaceful, he is self-satisfied. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how both these qualities, basically Atma Ramaya means although he is self-satisfied, when it comes to devotees, he will go out of his way to show them his special mercy, even if it means he has to wake them out of their slumber by putting some difficult situation. However, for the materialist who don't surrender to Lord Krishna, he is completely neutral. He is completely Shanta. He is completely peaceful, self-sufficient. He doesn't interfere in their free will. But for devotees, Krishna will surely interfere, even if it means that the devotee needs to be shaken up of their slumber. And finally, Queen Kunti praises Lord Krishna as Kaivalya Pataye Namaha. So Kaivalya means liberation, mukti. So those personalities who are after achieving the liberation, Lord Krishna is also the Lord and Master of such persons who aspire after liberation. Lalita Vinodini Mataji, want to read through the highlighted portion?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. A living being is finished as soon as there is nothing to possess. Therefore, a living being cannot be, in the real sense of the term, a renouncer. A living being renounces something for gaining something more valuable. A student sacrifices his childish proclivities to gain better education. A servant gives up his job for a better job. Similarly, a devotee renounces the material world, not for nothing, but for something tangible in spiritual value.
Thank you. Thank you, Mother. So here Bhagavatam is saying that not just for the devotees, but even for a materialist, we see right from the childhood, child sacrifices something if he is really intelligent to get something higher. Prabhupada gives example of a student sacrificing the childish proclivities. We see so many serious students, they devoting 1, 2, 3, whatever years required to crack difficult exams like IIT and all, because they know that if I sacrifice this part of my life, then the future will be very bright. Similarly, Prabhupada mentioned that even for a devotee, there are sacrifices involved in this material world. It cannot happen that we have taken to devotional service and everything will be just the way we want it to be, not at all. Even a devotee sacrifices everything practically to achieve the higher purpose in life. And Prabhupada gives examples of these three great personalities amongst the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan: Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. So the first two personalities, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they were high-class ministers in the administration of Nawab Hussain Shah. Rupa Goswami was the finance minister. Sanatan Goswami was the prime minister. And they left all their comforts. Similarly, Raghunath Das Goswami, it is mentioned that his wealth compared to now, he was a multi-billionaire, both his father and uncle, Govardhan Majumdar and Hiranya Majumdar. So they were great landlords during the rule of King Nawab Hussain Shah, and very wealthy family, and also in just order to entice their only son, Raghunath, the father, uncle, the whole family got him married to a girl. It is explained that who was very, very beautiful, even from the standard of the heavenly planets. So having such wealth, such a beautiful wife, when it is mentioned that Raghunath Das Goswami's mother suggested to her husband that should we bind him up in a closed room and all, so that he doesn't run away, his own father mentioned to his wife that, look, if such great amount of wealth, having such beautiful wife, cannot bind a person, then what do you think a material thing like a rope will be able to bind? It is not possible to restrain him or keep him forcibly with us by any material means. So Prabhupada glorifies the renunciation of such great personalities in order to achieve something great. And further on, he gives the story of the touchstone, which Srila Sanatan Goswami had kept in trash bin, basically in the garbage bin. And when a person in need came to Sanatan Goswami asking for material help, Sanatan Goswami guided him to take the touchstone with him. But then the person thought that if this touchstone is so valuable, why would this great personality Sanatan Goswami keep it in the trash bin? And he said, "My dear sir, do you have anything more valuable?" And then Sanatan Goswami basically asked him to throw that touchstone away and then gave him the holy name that, yes, I do have something which is even more valuable than the touchstone. So Prabhupada is explaining how even a devotee of the Lord sacrifices so many material possessions, so many material facilities in order to achieve something higher in their life. So that's why they are referred to as akinchana. Akinchana means material aspirations wise, they are completely exhausted. They don't pursue the material aspirations. Even when they do work hard, like say, for example, last time we had discussed the examples of great devotees who have great business empires in ISKCON Chopati congregation, etc. So materially speaking, they are very well-to-do and they are not lax in their business endeavors, but they are very clear that all these profits that I am able to make, they are only by the mercy of my Guru and Lord Krishna, and they are not personally attached. They are contributing all that results that Lord Krishna is granting in the form of contribution to the temple community. So this touchstone story we saw, this specific example is given for the neophyte devotees just to convince them that material hankerings and spiritual advancement go ill together. Advancement of material vision or material civilization is a great stumbling block for spiritual advancement. Such material advancement entangles the living being in the bondage of material body, followed by all sorts of material miseries. Such material advancement is called anartha or things not wanted. Actually, this is so. So we see for a devotee, if we are not careful, then a material advancement can actually be an impediment in the life of a devotee. And there are examples, we don't want to go through the quoting specific names of devotees from Srila Prabhupada's time who got distracted by some enamorment, who got enamored by some opulence offered by Maya, to an extent that by the time they were back in devotee community, Srila Prabhupada had already concluded his pastimes on this earth, and so many years which they could have used in the service to the moment were lost. But thankfully, by the grace of Lord Krishna and Srila Prabhupada, they came back again in the association of devotees, and they lamented that enamorment by Maya, being enamored by the Maya's attraction so much. So here Bhagavatam is telling one has to be really, really careful about this material progress, that they don't take us away from Krishna. Prabhupada writes further, by diverting attention to so many unwanted things, human energy is spoiled without achievement of spiritual realization, the prime necessity of human life. The attempt to reach the moon is another example. And Prabhupada is basically saying so many other endeavors of the modern mankind, they are all really in the real sense of human energy, a waste of energy, spoiling energy. Because even if we reach it, it's not going to solve the problems of material life. The devotees of the Lord are called akinchanas because they have practically no material assets. Such material assets are all products of the three modes of material nature. They foil spiritual energy, and thus the less we possess such products of material nature, the more we have a good chance of good chance for spiritual progress. So for a devotee, less is more, meaning whatever Krishna has provided us for our own sustenance, we should be happy and satisfied with that. We should not be over-endeavoring. And we saw this point in so many places. We saw in Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami's teachings, that 6 types of things, atyahara prayasascha, they spoil the devotional service. So devotees should be specifically happy, not only devotees, persons in general, about 3 things in life. Which are these 3 things, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Anybody recollects? We had discussed this earlier. What are the 3 things we should be very satisfied, whatever Krishna has offered? Sanjukta Mataji.
Children, spouse, and
Yes, Radhika Mataji.
one is children, next is spouse, another one not sure.
Okay, so out of
wealth or
2,
our position, that's what I understand.
out of 2, 1 is correct. Okay, so spouse, Sanjukta Mataji, or any other devotees, spouse is correct. You want to,
Prabhu, wealth. Shri.
wealth. Okay, spouse, wealth. What else? The third one. Vandita Mataji, you want to take a guess? What should we be fully satisfied, whatever Lord has arranged in our life?
Power of influence or power.
Okay, power of influence. Specifically, spouse, wealth, and the food. Whatever Lord Krishna has arranged for us, we should always be fully satisfied and not be in a complaining mood.
What is third one? Prabhu, your third one?
The food, prasadam, whatever basically Lord has arranged for us, we should be satisfied. So, and Srila Prabhupada gives example from it.
He takes Amrita, Prabhuji, Amrita. He takes Amrita, but we offer prasadas with Bhakti. He takes Prema.
Yes.
He wants Prema, Prabhuji. Prema Bhakti he wants.
Thank you, Mataji.
He does not take our prasadas.
Yes, whatever we are offering, Krishna is bhavagrahi. He accepts the mood.
Our karma will remove that thing. We will offer prasada that our karma will remove.
Yes, our karma, we will get rid of the good and the bad karma.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Krishna takes only our prema and bhakti. He is not interested our prasadas. He takes only amrita. He takes
got
amrita maya
Thank you.
prasada.
Hare Krishna. So question was, what are the 3 things we should be very satisfied? So we discuss about spouse, wealth, and the food, the prasadam that we get. We should be really considering it as Krishna's mercy. And Srila Prabhupada gives example from his own life, how he was not very happy with the non-cooperation of his wife in his spiritual endeavors. And he wanted to marry for the 2nd time. And we see his own father, Gaura Mohan De, discouraged Abhay Babu, saying that you take it as a special arrangement by the Lord so that you don't remain attached for too long in the family life, so that when the right time comes, Prabhupada renounced the household responsibilities. And his father gave him that perspective that take it as Krishna's mercy as well. So we proceed with the last few slides. Yes, so this is very important point. We read about the line in the verse, Atma Ramaya Shantaya. So Lord Krishna, he is completely self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything outside for his own satisfaction. But when it comes to devotees, Lord reciprocates by arranging a very special circumstances by which the devotee will come closer to him. But as far as the materialists are concerned, for them, Lord is totally neutral. He doesn't interfere. So a materialist is driven by his own karma and the results of the results that he incurs as a result of his actions. But for a devotee, Krishna specifically arranges circumstances. He doesn't let karma drive the results for a devotee. Hare Krishna. So we'll take few more verses. It is not feasible for us to recite all. So we'll just cover the translation. Anybody wants to read through? Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, may I?
Sanjukta, yes, Mataji. You can
Hare
read through
Krishna,
the
Prabhuji.
translation.
Another name of Paramatma feature of the
My Lord.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
My Lord, I considered your Lordship to be eternal time, the supreme controller, without beginning and end, the all-pervasive one. In distributing your mercy, you are equal to everyone. The decision between living beings are due to social intercourse.
Thank you, Mataji. So Kunti Maharani is praising the Lord as the eternal time, who is impartial to everyone without basically in distributing the mercy. Lord Krishna is totally impartial. He is not favorable to the devotees or unfavorable to the demons. And we have seen so many examples of it, including Shishupal last time, that Lord Krishna's anger on Shishupal. Of course, he did not become angry externally, but his punishment meted out to Shishupal because of his offenses also led to ultimate salvation, ultimate liberation for Shishupal. Similarly for Kamsa and so many other demons. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada also gives example of all the soldiers on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Is it mentioned in this verse? Srila Prabhupada mentioned that how even all the soldiers on the battlefield of Kurukshetra who died in front of the Lord, whether from Kaurava side or even from the Pandava side, just by the presence of Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they all got salvation also. So in this way, we can understand that Lord Krishna is not partial to anyone. The Kala offers the conditioned souls both happiness and miseries. It is all predestined by eternal time. As we have miseries uncalled for, so we may have happiness also without being asked, for they are all predestined by Kala. No one is therefore either an enemy or friend of the Lord. Everyone is suffering and enjoying the result of his own destiny. So we will have two more verses. Then we conclude at text 30 or 31. Yes. Divya Rukmini Mataji, you want to read through?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes.
Actually, I already read.
Okay,
I have a question.
Oh, you have a question. Okay, Mataji.
I will ask end or
that is fine. We can have it in the end. Any other devotees want to read through? Usha Kamat Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, can I read?
You also read Vandita Mataji? We
Yes,
can
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Usha Mataji, please.
Yes. Hare
continue.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
O Lord, no one can understand your transcendental pastimes, which appear to be human and so are misleading. You have no specific object of favor, nor do you have any object of envy. People only imagine that you are partial.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare.
And there are so many apparent contradictions we see in the Lord's actions, but which are not contradictions at all. Say, for example, we saw few examples earlier, like in case of Devaki, Lord Krishna, although being her future child, he did not prevent the 6 children of Devaki from being killed by Kamsa in a very, very ghastly manner. Or even though he was so compassionate and merciful to the Pandavas, his own nephew, his own real sister's son, Abhimanyu, Lord Krishna arranged in a way that Abhimanyu lost his life in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So there are so many activities of Lord Krishna which apparently may seem very, very contradictory. Say, for example, on one hand, he is mentioned as a person who has unlimited mercy, who tolerates all the offenses of his children. But in Shishupal's case, the moment the threshold was crossed, Shishupal was punished. So all these apparent contradictions, Kunti Maharani is mentioning that they all fall in sync in Lord Krishna when we understand his position as being totally impartial. And it's only foolish people who consider Lord Krishna to be partial. And in this regard, we have two examples which are again given by the script, given in the scriptures about Lord being impartial. How Lord's mercy is felt, is perceived by different groups of people in different ways. So maybe we'll just read one part of the paragraph, then we go to the examples. Foolish people think that devotional service is flattering the Lord. Flattering means praising to get some material gains. Is flattering the Lord to get special mercy. Factually, the pure devotees who are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord are not a mercantile community. A mercantile house renders service to someone in exchange for values. The pure devotee does not render service unto the Lord for such exchange, and therefore the full mercy of the Lord is open for them. And who has used this word of, my dear Lord, I am not a merchant doing exchange with you? Who was the devotee? Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Prahlad Maharaj, Prabhu.
Prahlad Maharaj, yes. Prahlad Maharaj uses the word Vanija, that my dear Lord Narsimhadev, I am not a Vanija that you are asking me to make a wish in front of you for my fulfillment. My devotional service to you is not a business that I offer you something and I take something from you. Because if I take something material from you, then my devotional service value will be gone. It will be like a business of give and take. So let's go through the examples. All these purports you can go through at your leisure. The famous example which Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and all the scriptures give of Lord's impartiality, first example is that of a sun. A sun is equally distributing the sun rays, the heat and light to everyone, but a person who is basically hiding in the shadows in a cave and all, not taking advantage of the sunlight, sun cannot be blamed for it. And different types of entities to which the sun imparts its energies are mentioned, just like a sunstone. Sunstone, it is like a precious jewel which has all the energies of the sun imparted in it. So it is very, very precious. Similarly, to a blind person who cannot appreciate the vision, who does not have vision, the sunlight is as good as non-existence. If a person is completely blind, within blindness also there are different levels, categories. There are people who are blind, but they can sense if a flash of light goes on and off in front of them, they have some sensation. But for a person who is totally blind, that person is totally indifferent to the sun rising and setting. Similarly, for a chakravak bird, so there are special birds, like there is a chataka bird who is completely dependent on the natural rainfall to quench its thirst. Similarly, we have chakravak bird who is completely dependent on the sun rays to nourish it. Similar for a chakravak bird, sun gives lot of joy. And similarly to the nocturnal species like owls or unscrupulous persons like thieves who can do their business only when the sun is out. Mostly they try to prefer to do their business in the night. So sun is disturbance. Sun is harmful to nocturnal species or thieves because they cannot do their business as usual as long as the bright sunlight is there. So sun is same, but by the different species, by the different entities, sun is perceived in different manner. Similarly, Krishna is also one, but by different classes of species, different classes of human beings, he is perceived differently. Like it is explained to the Kaliya, the same lotus feet, which were more tender and more soft than even fresh butter to Mother Yashoda, the same lotus feet of Lord Krishna, they were more heavier than thunderbolt to Kaliya, to the hoods of Kaliya. So Lord Krishna in this way is perceived by different entities, different living entities differently. Another example is given of Mother Ganges. The Ganges flow, it nourishes all different trees on the banks, including a mango tree of whose the fruits are very sweet, as well as neem tree of whose the fruits are very bitter. The flowers of the neem tree or the fruits themselves are very, very bitter. Neem is not lemon, neem is different species altogether. So neem tree bears bitter fruits using the same nourishment given by the Ganges water. So Ganges water is not providing different kinds of nourishment, but that nourishment is perceived based on the nature of the living entity. Similarly, Krishna is also impartial. So let me just read through one more translation and then we conclude. And then Kunti Maharani further goes on that how these apparent contradictions that in turn sync up in the personality of Lord Krishna, they are very bewildering to the conditioned souls. Of course, it is bewildering, O soul of the universe, that you work though you are inactive, that you take birth though you are the vital force and unborn. You yourself descend amongst animals, men, sages, and aquatics. Verily, this is bewildering. So Queen Kunti Maharani is trying to praise Krishna by listing all those apparent apparent anomalies or apparent opposing circumstances that are completely in sync in the personality of Lord Krishna. So all the purports we are not able to explain everything in detail. Prabhuji's, Mataji's, you can go through at your leisure, and if there are any questions you can ask. And next session we will begin with this particular group activity, which is a practical application of what Mother Kunti has prayed to build the mood of being akinchana. Akinchana doesn't mean giving up everything that we have, but how to cultivate this mood of being totally materially exhausted and completely dependent on Lord Krishna. So this we will cover. I will share it on the WhatsApp group as a group activity we can come prepared with. Now we'll conclude for today. We'll have some 1 or 2 questions what devotees may have. Divya Rukmini Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, actually, my question is from the Vibhata from Shashru. So actually, devotees, okay, we know everything. What is that? It's the mercy of Krishna to decrease our
fever,
active sins and all. So whatever miseries we are getting. So, but sometimes on this food, we are forgetting that, and someone is disturbing our ego. I mean, putting something fighting or something like that. On the sport, sometimes we are forgetting that all these things, whatever we learn, everything is we are forgetting. Then after that, maybe sometimes we will realizing that, oh, what I did, it's not the correct way. So this is what is the Krishna's blessings to reduce our our bad sins and all. So how can we get all that? See, and that sport, how can we get? So how can we keep quiet, or we can think all these things instead of getting angry to or hurting others or increasing our sins.
Very practical question, Mataji. Whenever such trying circumstances arise in our life, we can first give a first thought how I should react in a way that is pleasing to the Supreme Lord and our own spiritual master, our Guru. If I act in a particular way, will I be able to stand in front of my spiritual master to justify this action? Will he be pleased? And same about Lord Krishna as the Paramatma. If the answer to this question, these 2 questions is yes, they will be proud of how I am reacting to the situation, then we can consider it as a right course. But if outside world or even outside material circumstances may consider our action as justified, but ultimately it is not pleasing to Krishna and Guru, then we better be wrong on the side of materialist, but we be right on the side of Krishna. That is the criteria, Mataji, which I have heard in general. Any devotee,
if it is, if you are not, it's a karma, manas, mind, and the word and the work. So I mean, manasa vacha karmana. So if you are not doing by karma, if you are not doing by vacha also, but mind sometimes, it's disturbing like anything. So I just want to come out of that. I know that it's my mistake, and it's very difficult situation sometimes. It's like I don't know, Prabhu. It's like how can I come out of that one? It's after that we are thinking that, oh my God, I did something
then
wrong.
repent. Then we repent. Correct.
Yeah.
So, and one more thing we can do, Mataji, whenever the circumstances are such that we are likely to act in an impulsive manner. Impulsive means just at the spur of the moment, we are likely to say something which will repent later on. We are likely to do something, then better give ourselves time and not react immediately. Let me give some thought and then come back on this. If we delay the action, that also helps. And secondly, as I mentioned, maybe the first point that I mentioned, which is what action should I perform, which my spiritual master and Krishna will be happy. That is the absolute thing. But if the situation is very provocative, it's very impulsive for us to act, then we should delay the action, not take immediate action. Then probably by Krishna's grace, if we keep association with devotees, we would be able to rationalize. But if we act impulsively, then more often than not, as you mentioned, that it will cause us great repentance later on. Yeah. Any other devotees want to add anything here? Do we have Aishwarya, Subhadra Mataji, Anand Vilas, Prabhu, or other devotees, Rasaragini Mataji, Lalita Mataji, and other devotees? Prema Prakash Haridas Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
I still remember what my father used to advise, that whenever there is any row or any issue that comes up suddenly, and the dust is so much in the air, that picture is not clear. Wait until the dust settles down and the picture is clear. Then and then only you act. I think that's a piece of advice that has worked all through my life.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Maybe we'll have one last one. Ananda Prada Indulekha Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I was just looking that. Did you get my note about because I'm
Yes. Yes. Hang on now.
Thank you.
Yes, Mataji. So you will be going on.
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow and then I will be coming back in the end of April.
Understand. Noted, Mataji. Okay.
Thank
You
you.
can refer to our discussions, recorded ones, as per your convenience. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Me as well, Prabhuji. I will be away for the next 3 weeks.
Okay. Noted, Murli Prabhuji. So thank you all, Prabhujis, very much. And we will try and conclude this chapter in the next sitting because it is quite long and these prayers are important. Okay. Vamcha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha pati tanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrindaki Jai, Vaishnav Thakur ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna,
That was
Prabhuji.
pranam.